أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم الصلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جده السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل مع تحت الكساء فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب فقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسيي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي قد أذنت لك فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بدأتي قد أذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطر بالكساء وأومأ بيدي اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وهامتي لامهم لامي ودامهم دامي يولمني ما يولمهم ويادونني ما يادونهم أنا حرب لمن حربهم وسلم لمن سلمهم وعدو لمن آداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مرئية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا رب ومن تحت الكساء فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومادن الرسالة فاطمة وأبوها وبالها وبنوها فقال جبرائيل يا رب أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله العلي الأعلى يكرك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت السماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم قد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لي أبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
बाबाजी बुलंद तर सलावत.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الغطاء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله أمه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجات إلا وقضى الله حاجاته. فقال علي إذن والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على
محمد وعلي محمد وعجل فرجهم.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
Checking some other things.
أزور سيدي ومولاي ومعتمدي ورجاي ذخري وذخيرتي وآخرتي ودنياي الإمام الحسين عليه السلام. الله زيارة مني ونيابة عن والدي وإخواني وأخواتي وعن جميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات قربة إلى الله تعالى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا خيرة الله وابن خيرته. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات. مصيبتك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام. وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل الإسلام أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت. ولعن الله أمة رفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها. ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم. ولعن الله الممحدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشياعهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله إني سلم لمن صالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان، ولعن الله بني أمية قاتبا، ولعن الله ابن مرجان، ولعن الله عمر بن سعد، ولعن الله الشمرا، ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتالك. بأبي أنت وأمي لقد عظم مصابي بك، فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب ثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها من الحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله، إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن قاتلك ونصب لك الحرب، وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم، وأبرأ إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانا وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشياعكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم، وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم، وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب، وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن صالمكم، وحرب لمن حاربكم، وولي لمن والاكم، وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبتني عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة. وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمول لكم عند الله، فأن يرزقني طلب ثاري مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابيبكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته، مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله من صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد، ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن واكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيه صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعن منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر الأحد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني وابدأ به أولا ثم لعن الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسا ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجان وعمر بن سعد وشمران وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مصابهم. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود وثبتني قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا محجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. نزدیک بلندتر صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
As a gift to Imam Sahib al-Zaman Lahu al-Fida and all of our shuhada, Rahimallah man qara al-Fatiha. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على البشير النذير السراج المنير أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد
وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين سيما بقية الله في الأرضين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله. يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة فيا ليتنا كنا معك سيدي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. For the heart of Al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan al-Askari arwahuna lahu al-fida, to be pleased with us, for every single one of us to be from his loyal companions, with the loudest of your voices, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Dear brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Wherever there is a gathering, a majalis, in which Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam is remembered, the reality of that place is the very haram and shrine of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. This is the statement of that godly scholar, Ayatollah Muhammad Taqi Bahjat, rahmatullah. Therefore, this home, this room, this gathering right now, it's just the same as the courtyard of the shrine of Allah Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. And all the blessings, all the mercy, all the forgiveness, all the goodness that's present in that blessed location is present here as well. Therefore we begin by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by thanking Him, because if it wasn't for the blessing of Allah and His kindness upon us, we wouldn't be in this gathering, we wouldn't be at this blessed presence. There are many places that you could have been, dear brothers, in this moment, or during these nights. There are many places in this city. The doors of every sin are open upon you. What is it that brings you back to these gatherings again and again? What is it that makes you yearn for Muharram year after year? What is it that makes you desire more than anything else that, Ya Allah, I just want to be in the Haram of Syed al-Shuhada on Day al-Arba'ah. And when I can't go, I burn in that separation. What is it? Is it us? Is it us? Who am I? That should be my effort, my decision. Who am I? I'm much less insignificant than that. No. It's nothing but the owner of this gathering and the owner of this haram himself. He brings us again and again and again. He brings again and again and again. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants good for a servant or loves a servant of His, He places in his heart the love of Al-Hussein. This is what our Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa taught us. It means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw something inside you, saw something inside your heart, saw some goodness. He said, come, let me place the love of my beloved Al-Hussein inside this heart as well. Therefore, Ya Rabbi, we are thanking you. Where would I be without this love? Where would I be without Al-Hussein? Without the love of Al-Hussein? Without knowing Al-Hussein, where would I be? Which valley would I be destroyed in? Ya Rabbi, why are you doing this favor? Really? Ya Aba Abdullah, more than what happened to you on the day of Ashura, it's your kindness to me that kills me. Because if I was in your position and I knew who I was and what I had done and the actions that I've done during the year, the thoughts that I have had during the year, if I saw all of that, never would I invite such a person to my home again. But you're Al-Hussein. You're the one who called even your enemies on the day of Ashura to have them forgiven, to save them. Till those final moments, even with the excuse of giving you water, you wish to save them. But they themselves chose to turn. Therefore we thank you, Ya Allah. We thank you, Ya Allah. صلوا على
محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجك.
Imam Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, when we think of him, there is a certain part of our religion. Of course, every part of our religion is related to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, because loving the Ahlul Bayt is the very foundation of Islam. However, there is a certain concept in the religion that with the moment you think of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, you think of that, and that is ash-shahada, martyrdom. For he is Syed al-Shuhada, the master of all martyrs. Right? What is ash-shahada? What is ash-shahada? Ash-shahada is something that is mentioned in the Quran on more than one occasion. We know that nothing in the Quran is there just for the sake of being there. Every verse of the Quran, every word of the Quran, every letter of the Quran, and every harakah on top of every letter or below every letter of the Quran is there to guide us.
Subhanallah.
Therefore, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeats something in the Quran again and again, that is of extreme importance in terms of the man reaching his perfection. Right? One of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks in the Quran of on more than one occasion is ash-shahada, martyrdom. What is ash-shahada? There are layers and layers of depth of understanding what it is, but just for us to have a small discussion regarding some of that understanding, inshallah. Ash-shahada, the word ash-shahada, which we translate as martyrdom, comes from the word shahida, which actually doesn't mean to be killed. It's got nothing to do with death at all. Shahida means to witness, to see. That's why ash-shahada in the Arabic language until today has two meanings. The second meaning is martyrdom, but that's an acquired meaning. The original meaning is to testify or to witness. So for example, when you go to a court of law, they say give shahada, give testimony. What's that got to do with witnessing? Because you can only testify to something you've witnessed. So the origin of the word shahada is witnessing, when you see something. Ash-shahada is also the name we give to what? To the foundation statements of our religion. The shahadatain, the testimonies of faith. When someone who didn't have the tawfiq, didn't have the blessing to receive al-Islam from the beginning, enters into the religion of Islam, what happens? We say, come and recite your shahada.
Shahada.
Testify that there is no one worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi is the messenger of Allah. What has this shahada got to do with witnessing? The fact is, when a non-Muslim understands Islam is the truth, and they've come to a place now where they are ready to announce they are Muslim, what has happened? The heart of this person has witnessed something of the truth. The heart of this person has understood, witnessed something of the truth. Therefore we say, come and give your shahada. Testimony comes from witnessing. If you weren't at the scene of the crime, you can't testify about it. You have to have witnessed it first. So all the meanings attached to the word shahada come to what? Witnessing. Seeing something, right? Now the human being, dear brothers, there are two parts to the human being. There's a more important part and the less important part. The less important part is this, the physical side of the human being, right? And this physical side of the human being has an element of shahada. We see things with our eyes, we witness them. I witness your presence here today. Right? And I can testify to that because I witnessed it. But the more important part of the human being is what? The spirit that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given to. That is the essence of the human being. And this body is just here as a markab, a means of ascension for that spirit. And once that journey is finished, this body will go back to where it came from. The earth which it was created. And that soul will continue its journey for eternity. In any case, so we have a physical kind of shahada, witnessing of the eyes. But then we have a much higher kind of witnessing. It's related Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. Stated in a religion along the following lines that our followers are Shia, which is inshallah something all of us are striving to be. Our followers have 4 eyes. They're referring to wearing glasses. 2 eyes in their head and 2 eyes in their hearts. And the narration continues, in fact, all people have these 4. But Allah has opened the eyes of the hearts of our followers. It's related that once Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam was in the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
In the masjid. And a certain conversation took place. He heard the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi say some words or ask a question. I don't remember the exact details. He comes home to find who? The Lady of Light, the Queen of Paradise, Fatima al-Zahra. Where was the Queen of Paradise during this interaction between the Rasul and the Amir? At home, not in the masjid, right? She wasn't physically present. He comes home and the Lady of Light tells him what the Rasul said to him. And Amir al-Mu'mineen asked her, Ya Fatima, from where did you know this? She said to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Al-mu'minu yanzuru binu ittaqu firasat al-mu'min فَإِنَّهُ يَنظُرُ بِنُورِ اللَّهِ. Be careful of the piercing vision of the believer, for surely he sees with the light of Allah. Who is this for? Only her? No. She says, فِرَاسَةَ الْمُؤْمِنِ. A normal believer, a mu'min. Any believer. Every believer, according to the level of their iman, has a share of witnessing realities beyond this veil of physicality. And this is in fact one of the important aims of the religion of Islam. When we come to the Quran, we find the word shahada also used in opposition to al-ghayb, al-shahada and al-ghayb. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls himself Alimul Ghaybi wa Shahada, the knower of the Ghayb and the Shahada, right? What is al-Ghayb? What is the Shahada? Very simple, like we say in Urdu, Ghaib. It's an Urdu word, it comes from Arabic, to be absent, right? But the Ghaba means actually to be hidden. Right? When someone is absent from my presence, they're hidden from my perspective. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran is dividing existence into al-ghayb and al-shahada. Meaning part of this existence is witnessed for you, is alam al-shahada, O human being, by your physical senses. And part of it is hidden from you. But I witness both. I know both. So this division between al-ghayb and al-shahada is from our perspective, not from Allah's perspective. From Allah's perspective, everything is shahada. Allah witnesses all things, all the time. But from our perspective, the human being who's beginning his journey, and in the beginning the eyes of his heart are closed, they're yet to be opened. He has to ascend a little bit for that to happen. The existence is divided into two parts. The parts I can see and perceive with my physical senses, and the parts that I cannot. You know what it's like? It's like an iceberg. It's a bit like an iceberg. If you're ever in the ocean, on a boat, on a ship, and you see an iceberg, this incredible structure of ice that's in front of you, right? It looks amazing, it looks beautiful. But we know that the majority of the iceberg is where? Under the water. You're seeing maybe 5 or 10% of the iceberg. But the rest of it is where? Under the water. It's hidden from you. That is the example of existence. Part of it is a shahada, part of it is al-ghayb. And the majority of it is alam al-ghayb. There's another similarity between the iceberg example and existence being divided into alam al-shahada and alam al-ghayb. And that is what That is that, you know, the part of the iceberg we see, it can only exist there because it's being held in place by the hidden part. That is the relation between Alim al-Ghayb and Alim al-Shahada. The witnessed realm, the realm witnessed by these eyes, is being held in place by that realm.
Subhanallah. MashaAllah.
That is why the Ahlul Bayt, out of their kindness, they teach us how to strengthen your connection in that realm. When you do that, when you fix something up there, it will have its effect here. Recite this dhikr, it will have this effect. What's the connection? You don't see it. The connection is this. This dhikr is doing something in that realm. This alim al-shahada is being held in place by that realm. Change takes place there, change takes place here. The effect of it is here. Therefore, we have the narration. I believe it's from Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, where it's related. He said, Man aslaha ma baynahu wa bayna Allah, aslaha Allah ma baynahu wa bayna an-nas. One who corrects and rectifies what is between himself and Allah, Allah will correct and rectify what is between him and people. Meaning, fix your relation with Alim al-Ghayb. And Allah will fix your relationship with
MashaAllah.
Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Fix your relationship with Alim al-Ghayb. Allah will fix your relationships with Alim al-Shahada.
Subhanallah.
Everything makes sense. Why is it that you do this action, this good action? For example, استنزل الرزق بالصدقة. We have this narration. Cause sustenance to descend upon you by means of sadaqah.
Subhanallah.
For someone who only sees alim al-shahada, the physical side, this makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like, I'm in need of more money. You're telling me to give money. The money that I have to give it. But someone who realizes, no, alim al-shahada is just a tiny part of the picture. It's being held in place by alim al-ghayb. It makes complete sense. Another example, maybe a little bit controversial, but I'm sure all the brothers here will enjoy it. Marriage. For people who only see alim al-shahada, they say what? Don't think about marriage before having established yourself. A salary, a good income, car, house. What does Islam say? In order to improve your economic condition, get married.
Subhanallah.
And I'm going to say this because there are no sisters here. Brothers, don't act on this. But there's actually a narration where someone came to one of the Imam, I believe, complaining of poverty. The Imam said, are you married? He said, yes. He said, get married again. But don't
Subhanallah.
do that. He said, get married again. Meaning, Islam is saying what? It's like saying, look, you don't see it because you only see alim al-shahada. But we, the Ahl Bayt, who see the whole picture, with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're telling you, there is a connection between marriage and actually being wealthy. But do you trust us enough? That's the question. In any case, ash-shahada means to witness. And one of the aims of Islam is what? Is to cause alim al-ghayb to become alim al-shahada for the human being. To show him more and more and more. Al-mu'minu yanzuru bi ittaqu firasat al-mu'min fa innahu yanzuru bi nur Allah. Be careful of the piercing vision of the mu'min, for surely he sees with the light of Allah.
Subhanallah.
The light of Allah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali
Muhammad wa
Now the Ahlul Bayt were sent to us to take us on this journey. From only being able to perceive the physical side of existence to being able to perceive more and more of those mysteries. Isn't that beautiful? This is why we have the A'immah. They lead us, there are Imams that lead us on this journey. وَمَا هُوَ عَلَى الْغَيْبِ بِضَنِينَ. Imagine the Quran is saying about the beloved sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, he's not stingy when it comes to the unseen. He wants everyone to see. He's not like myself, who if I I don't know, find a treasure, I'm going to keep it for myself and make sure no one finds out. No, he wants to give all this treasure to the whole world. He's so merciful. But do we want to receive it? That is the question. Do we want to receive it? You have a bottle and the bottle is empty and the cap is tied on. Okay? It's closed, the bottle's closed, it's empty. This bottle could stay in the ocean for 1,000 years if it hasn't decomposed. Let's imagine it hasn't. Not a drop of water is going to enter it. Is it the fault of the ocean? I could be attending majalis for my entire life, but my heart is closed to receiving the love and the light of the Ahlul Bayt. So after 70 years, I'm still an arrogant person. I haven't been humbled. After 70 years, I'm still a stingy person. I haven't learned generosity. I've heard all these stories about Ahlul Bayt. They were generous, they were humble, they were kind, they were forgiving. No. After 70 years, I still can't forgive my spouse in an argument. Why? Because you didn't want to be guided. You didn't allow the light of Ahlul Bayt to enter you. You can't blame the ocean. But someone comes once for ziyarah, once into a gathering, stumbles accidentally upon a video on YouTube, accidentally, but because the bottle is the heart of this person is open, the cap on the bottle is open, immediately that hidayah comes. There was a brother in Qom, my first year when I was there, I was just learning Farsi, it was the introduction year. So there was a brother from Japan.
Subhanallah.
And he was actually Japanese. Like in Iran we pretend we're British, we're not British, it's always from my face. But because so they respect someone from England, oh wow, it's amazing, England, wow, mashallah. If you say from Pakistan, it's a bit different. But this brother's actually Japanese, 100% Japanese, He'd been there for about 2 years. And at least coming from the UK, having, been exposed to the Shia community, a bit. Like, you could read a little bit of Arabic, some words, there's some resemblance between our mother tongues and even English and Farsi and Arabic. But from Japan, it's like from a different universe. The alphabet is absolutely, there's zero, like minus 10% resemblance between that culture, that language, and a place like Iran. Or the Arabic of the Quran. What resemblance is there? And then to be a Shi'i.
Amazing.
How? So once there was a brother with me and he asked, his name was Khalid, this brother, and how hard he had worked to learn Persian so he could understand his lessons. Allahu Akbar. He was older, over 30. He was one of the most beautiful people we ever met, really. So kind, so merciful. And no one knew what hardship and pain he'd been through. Imagine having no one from your country. You go there from an English-speaking country, you have some student from America, from Canada, can help you out a bit. No one. And he stayed, and we go there, we're like, this is too hard, I'm leaving, I'm going to go back. He stayed. He's still there. He's still there. He's one of the most inspiring human beings I ever met. How did he come? What happened? Once there was a brother with me and he actually asked him, I called him, please tell us, how did you become Muslim? I have to know. You know what he said? He said, look, I have nothing to do with Islam. I wasn't from a Muslim background. I was a normal Japanese, non-Muslim person, living my life in Japan. And one day, I stumbled across a clip on YouTube. Just by accident, stumbled across it. I opened it. What was it? It was, I saw a cubicle structure that's draped in black, and some people are performing some interesting actions, bowing and prostrating in front of the structure. I didn't know what this was, but the sound in the background,
Subhanallah.
I had no idea what it was. No idea. Was it a song? Was it? I didn't know. It did something to my heart. It
Subhanallah.
struck my heart. And I began shedding tears. I researched. I found a list. I tried to find out what this is. I found out, this sound that did that with my heart is the first chapter of the Quran of the Muslims.
Subhanallah.
Why is it that I'm saying these same words 10 times a day, twice in every salah? for 70 years, never has it struck my heart that way. But this person, because the heart was ready. Because the lid was open. The lid was up. So he came, and he's still there, and he's still going. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes Islam succeed in Japan by means of him. In any case, عالم الغيب عالم الشهادة. Now, why is it that martyrdom is referred to as a shahada? What is the connection? We spoke about, the levels of the unseen realm becoming unveiled to us, right? For the heart to witness it. That is only done by means of sacrifice, right? So very, very simple example, easy example. The beginning of this journey is what? Is your salah, correct? 5 times a day. Even for your salah, a sacrifice is required. What's that? Fajr. Sacrifice your sleep. Just 2 rak'ahs, but you have to pray at that time. Because look, Allah's training you from the beginning. Get used to sacrificing. Because you cannot attain those positions without sacrifice. Slowly sacrifice. Slowly sacrifice. And then the level increases and increases and increases as the veils are lifted. What is the highest thing a human being can sacrifice? His own soul. What does a shaheed do? A martyr do? Gives his own soul. What is the appropriate reward for that? That the veils of Alim al-Ghayb are completely put aside. Therefore we have the narration that says what? Ash-shaheed yanzuru ila wajhi Allah. The martyr gazes at the very face of Allah. And our narrations mention that the face of Allah refers to the Ahlul Bayt. Some people, their paradise is a paradise of, to be honest, worldly pleasures in an unlimited form. Eating and drinking and gardens and rivers, and that's beautiful. That's beautiful. But some people, their paradise is the paradise of being absorbed in the vision of Amir al-Mu'min. Where is this and where is that? It's related to Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam said,
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل
to the
بلد.
Shia, O Shia. And again, there's a difference between myself and the Shia. Inshallah, we can be in the direction of becoming a true Shia. O Shia, something along these lines, don't remember the exact narration, but along these lines, the gist of it is the following. O Shia, do not worry about entering the fire of hell, but compete for the stations of paradise. Because surely the difference between one station and another in paradise is the difference between the earth and the stars. One person gets to meet Fatima al-Zahra once every 1,000 years. Another is the neighbor of Fatima al-Zahra. Where is this and where is that? There is one place in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Al-Jannah, paradise, the garden, is used many times in the Quran. Jannat, gardens, paradise is used many times in the Quran. There's only one place where Allah says Jannati, my paradise.
Subhanallah.
And that is in the closing verses of Surah Al-Fajr. It's related to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. Stated the following: اقرأوا سورة الفجر فإنها سورة الحسين. Recite Surah Al-Fajr, for it is the Surah of Al-Husayn alayhi salam. What are the closing lines of Surah Al-Fajr? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية
مرضية.
فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. O soul that has reached itminan, أيتها النفس المطمئنة, reached that level of, how can itminan be translated? Of peace, tranquility, certainty, and closeness to Allah, something along those lines. Irji'i, return. To Allah? No. إِلَىٰ رَبِّكِ, to your Lord. So Rabbiki, like He is yours. You're so different. To return to Allah. Rabbik, your Lord. Radiyatan Radiyah. You are pleased with Him and He is pleased with you. What then? Return so you can eat and drink and have gardens and Hurul Ain? فَادْخُلِي فِي عِبَادِي. Look. So enter among my servants. وَادْخُلِي جَنَّتِي. And enter into my Lord. This is what the godly scholars in the Arafat, they call Jannatul Dhat. This is a paradise with divine essence, where the reward is Allah Himself. And this is in the Quran for a reason. Imam Hussain alayhi salam is there to take us to that if we allow Him to. If we allow Him to. Is it the case that the door of Shahada is closed upon us? Is it the case that those levels were only from the people of the past? Absolutely not. When we look at recent times, at our times, we find men of God, not even ulama, not even scholars, no. Normal people who lived in this filthy world of ours with social media. And they attained levels like that. Allah never closed that door. We close it upon ourselves. We close it upon ourselves, so it becomes then a self-fulfilling prophecy. I can't make it. Yeah, you can't make it. Why? Because you decided you can't make it, not because you couldn't actually make it. You can't make it because you've made the decision that you can't make it. You choose to believe that. And this false belief is going to hinder you. It won't allow you to make it. But remove this false belief. Come to the Quran, come to Ahlul Bayt, remove this false belief. And you'll see, no, the path has always been open. You think it's impossible to meet the Imam of the time? Who closed the door upon us? Yes. One who meets him is not going to go around telling people he's met him. That door's never been closed. And we have people like that. And there's one story I'd like to point to, and just for us to take inspiration from, right? And that is a martyr from the sacred defense. What was the sacred defense? The sacred defense was when, after the victory of the Islamic Revolution in 1979, about a year later, the West, so that would be the UK, America, Germany, all of these guys got together and they told Saddam Hussein to attack the Islamic Republic. Why? Just till last year, before Islamic Republic of Iran, it was just Iran, it was a puppet of the West. The Westerners loved it. It was the Paris of the Middle East. What happened? Because Islam came into the picture. Therefore, it wasn't a war between two countries, but two ideologies. Attack them, they said to Saddam Hussein, and he listened like a good puppet that he was. He attacked. This is a newly formed system which has barely got on its feet. And all of a sudden, the whole world is against you. The whole world is in terms of the so-called superpowers, they're all against you. I've met people in Iran who were present at that time, and they've told me, and they went to war, and they told me that at times, we didn't have boots to wear. At times, we didn't have weapons. What they would give us is, they would cut out some like cardboard pieces, so that from a distance, it looks like it's a gun. Yani we had nothing. But there was one thing that was present, and that was love for Imam Hussain and loyalty to his representative. Wherever we have stuck to these two, we have succeeded. We have succeeded. There is a certain martyr whose grave is in the Behishta Zahra cemetery and just outside Tehran. I believe this martyr was actually 19 years old when he attained martyrdom during the sacred defense. When did he grow up? Where did he grow up? In pre-Islamic Revolution Iran, which was much worse than Bradford in terms of facade. So these martyrs, someone they've closed the door, excuses upon all of us. Okay? The name of this martyr was Ahmed. Ahmed Ali. This is someone who, after he was martyred, when certain things and secrets came out about him, you think to yourself, who was this person? He would write letters to his friends who he saw the dunya is taking them. He'd write letters to remind them. Remind them, don't let the dunya take you. Come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Grew up in a normal, average family, not very rich. His father wasn't a sheikh. There's no ayatollahs in this family. Normal person. Normal youth. But he chose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At one point, he says to one of his friends, and he writes that, I'm only writing this to encourage you, to show you it's possible to come higher. I'm not writing this to show off. He said that, I believe he was 12 or 13 years old. Remember, this is pre-Islamic revolution Iran, which is a place of fasad. Okay? He says, I'm only writing this to show you it's possible, to motivate you, right? But don't share this with anyone. What did he say? He said, when I think he was 12 or 13 years old, right? They had a school trip, a camping trip. They took these 12, 13-year-olds, where? To a place in the forest like people do. They go camping in forests. They go hiking to a forest. When they got to the forest, they divided the tasks that needed to be done. Ahmed was given the task to do what? Go to the river and bring back water. There's a river over there. Go and just bring back water for the brothers. So he said, I took the containers. I was going towards the river. And now I'm at a place where I can no longer see the people who are with me, and they can no longer see me, right? So I'm alone, going through the forest. I hear the sound of the river. I go towards the river. All of a sudden, I freeze. How old is he? Maybe 12, 13. Meaning the beginning of puberty. What happens that difficult time? Hormones, attraction towards the opposite gender begins, right? At that time, he says, I froze in my tracks because I realized in the river there were some young women who were swimming. He said in that moment, no one's here. It's not the Husseini, it's not the mosque, it's you're alone in the forest. You can't pretend there. There is just you and your iman that's going to stop you. Nothing else. He said, my desires were saying to me, Ahmed, look in that direction. No one will notice. But in that moment, I turned to my Lord. I said, Ya Allah, you know I'm young. You know my desires are whispering to me. You know how hard this is for me. But just for you, I'm going to look away. He said, I turned away, I didn't go to the river. He said it was moments after that a veil was lifted from before my heart. And I saw that there was nur coming out from every single tree in that forest. And I heard the tasbih of the trees saying, Subuhun Quddus Rabbul Malaikati war Ruh. You are holy and sanctified, O Lord of the angels and the Spirit. This is the tasbih of the angels, by the way. This is how they do tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that pleasure makes a person forget everything in the dunya. He said from that day onwards, one after one, the veils of my heart were lifted. Till he got to what place? He got to a position where, one time, and he's older now, maybe towards his late teens, he's helping out in the masjid, like some of the brothers here do. And the brothers he would, kind of try to guide and be friends with in the masjid, they were very naughty, very difficult kids to be with. Not normal difficult, like they were like almost satanic, you could say. Okay? To the extent that there's a story where one of these kids, he took a cockroach in his hand They went to the Sheikh and he shook hands with the Sheikh. They were like this. Okay? Wild. But he didn't leave them. It's like, no, there's goodness in them, let me stay with them. My presence with them can affect them in a good way. Okay? So some of the brothers from the masjid, they planned a trip to Masjid al-Jamkaran in Qom. Because these people, they were in Tehran. Shaykh Ahmed lived in Tehran. The bus arrives near Jamkaran in Qom, which is the mosque of the Mansar, outside of Qom. Beside the mosque, there were 2 mountains, and they're there until today. So Ahmed comes down from the bus, and so do the other brothers. They're all going towards Jamkaran Mosque. 2 of these brothers, they have their eye on Ahmed, they're looking at him, they're just wondering what he's going to do. He begins by joining them towards Masjid al-Jamkaran, but then he diverts. He doesn't go towards the masjid, now he's going towards the wilderness beside the mountains. There's nothing there, by the way, it's just open desert, there's nothing there. He's going towards the wilderness beside the mountains. So these 2 brothers, they see this, and they're curious. They're like, well, everyone's going to the masjid, why is he going towards the desert? They start following him. He's going, they're following from a distance. All of a sudden, one of them sneezes. Ahmed turns around. He says, what are you doing? They say, what are you doing? Where are you going? He says, leave, I'll meet you at whenever we are going to meet. I'll meet you at the bus. You go back. He said, no, I'm not going anywhere. He said, please, just go. He said, no. They insist, they fight about it. They say, no, there is no way we're leaving you. Only in one condition, that you tell us where you're going. He says, no, just go back, leave me. They don't let him go. You have to tell us or we're just going to stay with you. So he says to them, look, what I'm about to tell you, I forbid you to mention till the day I die. I am going to meet my master, Sahib al-Zaman, who's waiting. Do you want to come? When they heard those words, they just froze. How old was Shaheed? 19. Where did he achieve this? In a place of facade, a country of facade. So it's possible. He had meetings with the Imam at the time, because he was so pure. Ayatollah Syed Abdul Karim Kashmiri, rahmatullah alayhi. Now be careful because ulama, their names are very similar. They're like 1,000 Kashmiris, 1,000 Irwanis, 1,000 other ones, Shirazis. That's quite a controversial one. Be careful. Syed Abdul Karim Kashmiri, rahmatullah alayhi, who was a spiritual student of the great Ayatollah Syed Qadi, rahmatullah alayhi. They asked in the interviews there, they asked him, can the Shia meet the Imam of the time during the Ghaiba? Without thinking, he said yes. If they become pure. Finished. Easy. The Imam of the time is pure. Resemble him in his purity. Isn't that a nice dream to live with? Isn't that a beautiful aim to have? The last thing I mention is the end, the beautiful end of the story of Shaheed Ahmed, who stayed on this path, resisted, followed the Ahlul Bayt till the end of his life with sincerity. How does the story end? We have a narration from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, where it's related, he said something to the effect of the following: in the condition that you live, you shall die. In the condition that you die, you shall be raised in the day of judgment. Okay? Meaning, the condition that your soul, your heart is in when you die, that is what seals your destiny. That is your position for eternity. You die in a state of Iman, alhamdulillah. You die in a state of kufr, it's too late to change anything. But it's not random which side the heart falls in. That moment is the effect of all the moments leading up to it. From the moment you understood you're meant to come towards Allah, what did you do from that moment onwards in your life? If you sought Allah, you'll fall on the right side. If you turned away, you'll fall on the wrong side. With this in mind, let's go towards this final story from Shaheed Ahmed. The war begins. The Islamic Republic is attacked. And really, just brothers, just if you ever need some inspiration, motivation, just look between the shuhada of those 8 years and the shuhada of the last 8 to 10 years. The war with Daesh, you'll find gems and stars scattered among them. This is just one of them. Shaykh Ahmad is one of them. Why? Imam Hussein alayhi salam, I'm staying loyal to the leader that's leading you towards the Qibla. He was martyred very early on. I think some months he was, at war and he was martyred. The regiment he was with, when they'd gone to fight and the enemy was firing upon them, all of them were martyred in the same moment, except one. It's as if Allah kept him to tell this story so he could reach us. That person who remained says the following. He says, the place that Shaheed Ahmed was in was very close to me. The place he was martyred in, where he fell, was very close to me, such that I could hear him if he spoke. He said, the enemy fired upon us. I ducked for cover. The enemy fired upon us. There was an explosion. I saw every one of these brothers fall to the ground, including Ahmed. I was the only one who was left. And I knew in that moment that Ahmed is gone. Ahmed is gone, he's finished. He's shaheed. After maybe a minute or so, because I couldn't leave that location, I had to stay there for a while until the enemy goes and I could leave. I saw Ahmed Ali sit, place his hand on his heart, and say the following words: Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. As you live, you shall die. As you die, you shall be raised. Imagine being raised on Judgment Day saying, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Why could he do that? Because he lived. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. When they found his body, maybe a week later, his hand was still like this. He was buried like this, giving salam to his master. The picture is there. If you find the book, I don't know if it's translated or not, how good it's translated, but in the Farsi original book, picture is there. His hand is like this, giving salam to his master. The love of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his remembrance is all we need to find our way when we lose it. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Ruhi laka al-fida ya Aba Abdullah. Shahada, dear brothers, was an honor for the Ahlul Bayt. It was an honor for the Ahlul Bayt. Before Aba Abdullah, it was Hamza who was called Sayyid al-Shuhada. And on the day of Ashura, Aba Abdullah reminded the people of that. Do you know that Hamza Sayyid al-Shuhada is my uncle? Do you know that Ja'far al-Tayyar, who flies in paradise with wings, is from us? He reminded them. So this is a household that Shahada is an honor for them. Just as this household mentioned in front of that Mal'un Yazid, that Shahada is an honor for us. You think he humiliated us? Our honor is in Shahada. Our honor is sacrificing everything for Allah. It's an honor for us. Therefore, the Ahlul Bayt raised their children with the love of Shahada. And one place we find this is where? In the story of Qasim ibn al-Hassan. The night before the day of Ashura, the final night, because the enemy wanted to attack on the 9th of Muharram. Our Master Abu Abdullah alayhi salam asked them to give him one more night. Why? Because my Lord knows, Inni uhibbu salah. I love salah, I love dua, I love istighfar, and I love reciting the Quran. On that final night, that final fateful night, you know what had been happening up to that night? The companions of the Imam had been reducing. Look, they will be sieved until only the purest remain. The companions of the Imam are reducing, the companions of the enemy are increasing. What's Imam al-Hussein doing? He's purifying them, so only the purest and best way. What's Imam Salih Razvan doing to all of us? Every moment. This is how we see the tests in our lives. La ilaha illallah. He gathers his companions in his tent. He gathers his companions in his tent. And allow me to read. This is from Kitab al-Irshad, which is the Maqtal of Shaykh al-Mufid, rahmatullah alayhi. Let me read part of that from the Maqtal itself. So when the Imam gathered his companions, Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam was in the neighboring tent, but he was ill. And Lady Zainab alayhi salam was looking after the Imam. The Imam said what? The Imam says the following, that he could actually hear the conversation between Abu Abdullah alayhi salam and his companions. Allow me to read it from here. فجمع الحسين أصحابه عند قرب المساء. Al-Husayn alayhi salam gathered his companions in the evening time. قال علي بن الحسين عليه السلام, on Sajjad alayhi salam says, فدنوت منه لأسمع ما يقول لهم. I made myself closer to the tent of Abdullah so that I may hear what he says to them. وأنا ذلك مريض. This is while I was sick. فسمعت أبي يقول لأصحابه. I heard my father say to his companions, أثني على الله أحسن الثناء وأحمده على السراء والضراء. اللهم إني أحمدك على أن أكرمتنا بالنبوة وعلمتنا القرآن وفقهتنا في الدين وجعلت لنا أسماعا وأبصارا وأفئدة فجعلنا من الشاكرين. Look how he begins about Abdullah al-Husayn. He says, I begin by praising Allah with the best and most beautiful of praises. And I praise and thank Him in hardship and ease. O Allah, surely I praise You, for You have honored us with prophethood, because You have taught us the Quran and made us understand the religion. And You have placed for us hearing and seeing and hearts. Therefore, make us from the people of gratitude. Amma ba'd. Now he turns to his companions. What does he say? Imagine, these are the ones who remained with the Imam right till the end. The final night, think of this. They've been seeing people are leaving. They know if this day was going to happen tomorrow. They know what's going to happen tomorrow. They know if they're martyred, it won't mean Imam al-Husayn isn't martyred. They'll only be able to delay the martyrdom of al-Husayn alayhi salam for some minutes. They know all of this. He turns to them. He says what? فَإِنِّي لَا أَعْلَمُ أَصْحَابًا أَوْفَى وَلَا خَيْرًا مِنْ أَصْحَابِي. I don't know any companions more loyal and better than my companions. وَلَا أَهْلَ بَيْتٍ أَبَرْ وَلَا أَوْصَلْ مِنْ أَهْلِ بَيْتِي. I don't know of a household kinder and better than my household. فَجَزَاكُمُ اللَّهُ عَنِّي خَيْرًا. May Allah reward you all the goodness on my behalf. ألا وإني لأظن أنه آخر يوم لنا من هؤلاء. By Allah, I feel this is the final day between us and these people. ألا وإني قد أذنت لكم. Listen to this. And surely I have given you my permission, meaning I've lifted my bay'ah from you. I'm giving, the Imam himself is saying, I'm giving you permission. فانطلقوا جميعا. He's saying, leave. All of you, go. في حل ليس عليكم مني ذمام. فانطلقوا جميعا في حل ليس عليكم مني ذمام. Go with my permission. There is no blame upon you. هذا الليل قد غشيكم. This night has now covered you. فاتخذوه جملا. Therefore take it as a means of escape. Allahu Akbar. These are words of Imam Hussein to his companions. What happened in that moment? Who's narrating Imam Sajjad alayhi salam himself? The companions, what did they feel hearing this? فقال له إخوته وأبناؤه وبنو أخيه. Who began speaking? The brothers of Abu Abdullah, his sons and his nephews. لمن نفعل ذلك? Look at this. Why exactly should we do that? Why should we leave you? لنبقي بعدك? So that we remain after you?
ألا أرانا الله ذلك أبدا. May Allah never show us that day where we are alive after you. Who was the first one to begin saying these words? بدأهم بهذا القول العباس. Who was good to them? لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. Then Abu Abdullah alayhi salam turned to the children of Aqil. He said, Ya Bani Aqil, hasbukum min al-qatl bi-Muslim. O children of Aqil, it's sufficient that Muslim ibn Aqil was martyred from your household. فَاذْهَبُوا أَنْتُمْ فَقَدْ أَذِنْتُ لَكُمْ. Leave me, go, for I've given you permission. What did they say? These loyal companions, قالوا Subhanallah, فَمَا يَقُولُ النَّاسِ. Subhanallah, what will people say? يقولون إنا تركنا شيخنا وسيدنا وبني عمومتنا خير الأعمام ولم نرمي معهم السهم. People will say to us that we left our master alone and we didn't shoot any arrows with him. ولم نضرب معهم بالسيف. We didn't take our swords and defend him. And one by one they begin declaring their loyalty. It's written that very night there was a companion in that tent who was in a very tender age, sensitive age, teenager, early teens, and that was Qasim ibn al-Hassan. He came, he declared his loyalty. Abu Abdullah turned to him, he said, what? How did you see death for Qasim? And we all know the answer. These words that ring in their hearts until the day of judgment. Ya Abu Abdullah, ahla min al-asal. Death, in this way, defending you is sweeter to me than honey. But O Qasim ibn al-Hassan, would that I could say that your shahada was sweet like honey for your uncle Abu Abdullah. La ilaha illallah. Let me read from the Maqta. La ilaha illallah. Firstly, remember this, dear brothers. When Ali al-Akbar came asking Abu Abdullah for permission, he didn't think twice. He said, go straight away, because he's the son of the Imam. Brothers, this is the son of Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. I wonder if Qasim ibn al-Hassan came seeking permission, O Abu Abdullah. When you looked into his eyes in that moment, did you see Qasim ibn al-Hassan or did you see your brother Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba? Ya Abu Abdullah, I wonder in that moment if you went back to Medina, to those painful moments when your beloved brother and Imam was lying before you in so much pain, the poison was going through his body, your tears were shedding, and in that moment your brother looked at you and said, La yawmaka yawmaka Abu Abdullah. There is no day like your day, Abu Abdullah. As if he wanted to say, if I cannot be present on the day of Ashura, I will make sure my children are present to defend you. Oh, Abu Abdullah, accept this amana from me. La ilaha illallah. I don't know how the Imam gave permission to Qasim ibn al-Hassan to go to the battlefield. All I know is that the Maqtal says the following. The enemy themselves narrate this. فَإِنَّا لَكَذَلِكَ إِذْ خَرَجَ عَلَيْنَا غُلَامٌ كَأَنَّ وَجْهَهُ شِقَّةُ الْقَمَرِ. The enemy says this. All of a sudden we saw a young man come to the battlefield. His face was like part of the moon itself. في يده سيف. He was carrying a sword. وعليه قميص. And he was wearing a shirt. والنعلان قد انقطع الشسع إحداهما. And we saw that he had sandals upon his feet. One of the bands of the sandals had opened. فقال لي عمر بن السعيد بن نفيل الأزدي. This mal'oon said to me, والله لأشدن علي. Wallahi, I will be the one who attacks him. فقلت, the narrator says, سبحان الله وما تريد بذلك. دعه يكفيكه هؤلاء القوم الذين ما يبقون على أحد منهم. He says, why do you want to attack this young man? Let others do it. But this mal'oon said, Wallahi لأشدن عليه. He had his eyes on Qasim. He said, I will be the one who attacks him. فشد علي. That mal'oon came towards Qasim ibn al-Hassan. فما ولى حتى ضرب رأسه بالسيف فقلقه. It was within moments that Mal'oon brought down his sword upon the head of Qasim. What happened? فَفَلَقَهُ. He split the head of the son of Imam al-Hassan open. ووقع الغلام لوجهه. What happened in that moment? Qasim ibn al-Hassan fell upon his face upon the sands of Karbala, crying out, Ya Allah! Oh my beloved uncle, Qasim ibn al-Hassan, your uncle died right there. فجل الحسين كما يجل الصقر ثم شد شدة ليث أغضب. Al-Hussein goes to the battlefield like an angry eagle. He parts the lines of the enemies. He attacks the one who attacked Qasim like an angry lion. فضرب عمر بن السعيد بن نفيل بالسيف. Abu Abdullah struck the one who struck Qasim with his sword. فصاح صيحة, that ملعون called out. سمعها أهل العسكر, the army of Yazid heard his call. لا إله إلا الله. He turned away from Al-Hussein عليه السلام. Al-Hussein عليه السلام turned away from him. Now he's going towards Qasim. The narrator says the following: وانجلت الغبرة, the dust has settled. When the dust settled, what did I see? فرأيت الحسين قائما على رأس الغلام. I saw Al-Hussein standing by the head of this young man. What was he doing? Try to understand what this means. وهو يفحص برجله. Abu Abdullah was standing beside Qasim. What was he doing? He was striking the earth of Karbala with his foot. لا إله إلا الله. يقول بعدا لقوم قتلوك. Away with the people who martyred you. ومن خصمهم يوم القيامة فيك جدهم. The one opposing them on judgment day will be your grandfather. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. But Qasim ibn al-Hassan wasn't the only one who attained Shahada on that day. La ilaha illallah. If Abu Abdullah had 72 companions on the day of Ashura, every companion met Shahada only one time. But Abu Abdullah met his death 72 times on the day of Ashura. Because every time one of his companions would fall upon the sands of Karbala, Abu Abdullah would die right there. There came a moment for the day of Ashura. There was no more Abbas. There was no more Aliyun al-Akbar. There was no more Qasim ibn al-Hassan. It was in that moment Abu Abdullah stood alone. It was in that moment he called out, هل من ناصر ينصرنا? Is there any other helper to assist us? Is there any protector to defend the daughters of Rasulullah? It said in that moment, a wailing and crying was heard from the tents. The women heard the call of the Imam. They couldn't bear this voice. He goes towards the tents. Who does he meet there? Akhirat Bani Hashim Zainab al-Kubra. What does she do? What does she say to Abu Abdullah? She has orders to be patient. Therefore, you don't see her weep or wail or lose her control ever after the day of Ashura. She's thinking, what is the best thing I can do to serve the Imam in this moment? She knows her brother will attain Shahada. So she comes to her brother. She doesn't come alone. She comes carrying something in her arms. La ilaha illallah ya sahib al-zaman. She says to him, oh brother, this is your little son who hasn't drunk water for 3 days. Before you go to the battlefield, see if you can quench his thirst. Abu Abdullah alayhi salam took Aliyun al-Asghar into his arms. He stood in front of the enemy. It's as if time stands still in that moment. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. The Shahada of Qasim and Hassan wasn't enough. Al-Hussein has to give more to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He stands holding Aliyun al-Asghar in his arms. He calls out to the enemy, you murdered my household. You murdered my companions. The only one one who remains is this child. He's thirsty, drinking when he needs a drink of water. He's dying of the thirst. Take him and give him a drink of water that his thirst may be quenched. But Ya Sahib al-Zaman, Ajarak Allah. Would that I could tell you they didn't quench his thirst. But Ya Sahib al-Zaman, indeed they quenched the thirst of Aliyun al-Asghar. But they didn't quench his thirst with water. How did they quench his thirst? فَالضُّبِحَ الطَّيْفِ مِنَ الْأُذُنِ إِلَى الْأُذُنِ. Harmala took a good look at the neck of Aliyun al-Asghar. He quenched the thirst with an arrow. All of a sudden, Abu Abdullah felt his hands are shaking. There's a heaviness in his eye. He looks down, what does he see? Wow, Sayyidina! Wow, Sayyidina! Wow, Sayyidina! وحسينا ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وسيعلم الذين ظلموا بأي منقلب ينقلبون السلام